Hi, and welcome to This Week in Baltimore Eating with me, Amanda Krotke. You can join us here every Thursday at 12:30 to talk about everything food-related in Baltimore. We are brought to you by Eddie's of Roland Park on Roland Avenue, hosting Eddie's Bark Party on Saturday, June 15th, a dog-friendly sidewalk soiree benefiting Barks, featuring gourmet hot dogs, in-store tastings, music from DJ Baby Alcatraz, and more. The Mutts hit the market on Saturday, June 15th. Find tickets and event info at eddiesofrolandpark.com. I have a special guest with me today. Richard's absent. Welcome, Chef Joshua Rosen. Hi.
Hello, and thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. We're thrilled to finally get to meet you. We've heard about you for a few months now, so we're happy to see you face to face. It was pretty good. We're going to talk about chocolate, which is one of my favorite things to talk about. I enjoy chocolate discussions. I'm actually glad Richard's not here, so I can do this talk.
Yeah, forget that guy.
We'll
do it just the two of us.
Exactly. So, you got to tell us about Charm School Chocolates.
Okay, so like you said, my company is Charm School Chocolate. We've been around for about 6 years now, and we are a bean-to-bar chocolate company, meaning we import cocoa beans and make all of our chocolate by hand from scratch.
Do you import from various countries? Or
we
one?
do, yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes, we primarily work with a really beautiful and amazing co-op in southeast Belize, right outside of Punta Gorda. But we also work with a really lovely farm in Ecuador and currently exploring some new origins with maybe Peru, India, some different areas around the world, all about 20 degrees north or south of the equator.
Okay, that's
where the
that's where the bean belt?
Yeah. That's the bean belt.
I love that.
Good call. Yeah.
Thank you. So do you get to go travel and see the bean farm? What are they? Plantations?
Well, it's funny because we say farms or co-ops or things like that, but really a lot of the places where we source from, the trees grow wild. And so we, and as chocolate makers, generally go to these places and try to encourage the farmers, hey, listen, we'd love to use this thing that's indigenous, that's beautiful, that's really tasty, and pay good prices for it and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to encouraging you to, say, cut all your trees down and grow sugar cane instead.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you actually get to go travel and pick.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
We've spent time in Belize doing the whole harvest and post-fermentation. And, we literally were, getting the beans ready that would soon be our beans back here.
Real fast, Mallory Beth Joslin says hi from London.
Oh, sure. London is my adorable niece, and Mallory is my sister.
Oh, hi, Mallory. That's cute.
She is the best. I love her dearly.
Okay, good. And then Trini Vegan Taylor says hi.
Hi, Taylor.
Oh, there you go. I know. I only know them by their handles.
One thing I will say is that we've been extremely lucky, both in the bean to bar chocolate community and also in the vegan community. Mm-hmm. We're a vegan company. Mm-hmm. The people generally are super tight and just really lovely. And so Trini Vegan is somebody who's a local Baltimore person and somebody we really like. And so, we've spent a lot of time with our customers and things like that. They tend to be very loyal and wonderful.
So forgive my ignorance because I'm not really up on my beans. Mm-hmm. I don't know my beans like your beans. But is it usually where there's cocoa beans? Are they also usually doing coffee, or is it a whole separate?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so you are nailing it.
Okay,
yes.
So can you explain this to me?
Sure.
What is the difference between a coffee bean and a cocoa bean? Or are they on the same farm, the same tree?
They're
What's happening there?
Familiar. There's so many things that join them together.
Okay.
So coffee is grown on a bush, and it's a fruit surrounding a seed. The fruit basically is removed, and the seed is what we know as like a coffee bean. Mm-hmm. There's something very similar between coffee and cocoa, is that the seeds of the plant are called beans, even though neither of them are beans.
It's not actually a bean?
They're not legumes, not in the slightest.
All right.
And cocoa beans are the fruit of the cocoa tree. Usually it's like a big pod, kind of football shaped. And inside there's a white pulp surrounding seeds, and the seeds are what we refer to as cocoa beans. So they grow in very similar places, and just kind of like wine, depending on where they grow, the altitude, the terroir, exactly. The altitude, the air, the dirt, all that kind of stuff, imparts different flavors. So you get a lot of the similar genetics, but wildly different flavors, from super chocolatey fudgy to like raspberry and everything in between. Kind of cool. And only from just the bean itself.
Okay, and Is there a particular region that you're specifically really into?
Yeah, well, I will say we primarily source from Belize, so
Belize.
that's our thing. Or I should say that's a farm and a group of people I really love working with. The beans there are insanely flavorful. They're like almost like Oreo cookies, and they've got this kind of raisiny vibe to them. I really like them, and the people there are just incredibly lovely. So it's a very easy place and region to fall in love with.
So when you go, do you actually just taste on a bean? Like you just pick a bean and try to taste it, and it's not like
it's a very rough indicator because what we do. So chocolate is a fermented product. So the beans are then plucked, and harvested, removed from the pods, and then they're placed in banana leaf lined boxes and allowed to ferment for a couple days, actually. And during that process, they develop acidity and heat and release carbon dioxide and do all these really interesting things. And so the base material is kind of hard to taste and know what the end product chocolate will be like. But in the process of kind of learning that stuff, we do a lot of very small batch test roasts and things like that to kind of see what kind of flavors we can coax out and maybe how we can improve the process from the very beginning to give us a better result.
I didn't intend this to be a how to chocolate class, but I like it.
I'm
and actually, so our friend Kenny Friedman is watching. I don't know if you know Kenny. I know Kenny.
I don't know Kenny. Hi, Kenny.
He writes our Kosher Decanter blog.
Very nice.
The wine blog. But he said that Israeli winemaker Eli Shirin is watching, so that's cool.
Very nice.
And Kenny loves that this is a wine and coffee conversation, which makes it totally legit.
Yes.
Which I agree, Kenny.
Yes.
It's two of my favorite things.
Terroir matters.
So I just have to ask because this is the kind of person I am. But you know how there's like super bizarre coffee that costs like a zillion.
Cappy Luwak, is that what you're talking about?
So is there? Yes, I am. Is there an equivalent in the chocolate world?
There are. In the chocolate world, well, there's less. There isn't exactly any cocoa beans that I know of that have been, let's say, fermented through an animal's digestive tract. That being said, who knows? Maybe there's some out there.
It might be happening somewhere.
If that's your thing and you happen to be a producer and you want to call us and, maybe we get a hold of some of those beans, great. I'm sure I'd be curious. But that being said, a lot of cocoa is about rarity right now. It's about like getting wild beans as opposed to the cultivated stuff. Like there are very high yield mass market trees. It's kind of like what corn is like in the U.S. now, where it's like large production. They're bred for the ability to make 1 billion ears of corn, not because that single ear is the most flavorful. So people really go hunting off in the most wild places. I mean, like the Amazon and to these like there's actually really beautiful cocoa cultivation in Vietnam right now where a lot of it is like transported by tiny little individually rowed boats. Like it's amazing. Yeah. So it's about finding these like really rare, interesting trees that yield just super delicious flavors.
I think you should host a trip.
I would love that.
Chocolate 101 international tour.
Somebody recently requested that.
I'm
I think
on board.
It would be a blast. So let's make that happen.
Let's do that. Hold that thought. Yeah. If you just got here, you are watching This Week in Baltimore Eating with me, Amanda. Richard got called away. Like, share, comment, and follow us at #JMREating. We are brought to you by Eddie's of Roland Park, celebrating 75 years of Baltimore's gourmet grocer. Eddie's is delivering a free office lunch for 12 every week this year as part of their year-long 75th anniversary celebration. For your chance to win, visit eddiesofrolandpark.com/anniversary. Megan Elizabeth says she hosted a wine pairing party a few years ago with your chocolate, and it was the star of the evening.
Well, thank you, Megan. That's very kind of you.
Which brings me to another question. Do you do tasting events, or have you considered that?
Yes, so we have done private events and things like that before, but in the last couple months, we've been able to move to a newer, kind of better, bigger, bells and whistles kind of facility out in Hunt Valley, where now we have a space that we can actually invite customers to come in and try all of our products and talk about how chocolate is made and all that kind of stuff. We're open Friday, Saturday, and Sundays right now, and we're going to be debuting tours and classes and things like that, so we can dive a little deeper, maybe teach you a little bit more about chocolate.
So you have a full-on legit chocolate factory.
Yeah,
You
start to
are
finish.
a modern-day Willy Wonka.
That's our thing.
That's
yeah.
your thing?
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so you have degrees in engineering from Carnegie Mellon.
Yep.
And baking and pastry arts from the Culinary Institute of America. So you've got some
one of
cred.
those.
You have kitchen cred.
I like to think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
So which one do you think comes up more in chocolate making?
Oh man, honestly, I have to say it's really split down the middle. It's one of those things where everything, like the CIA, the Culinary Institute, that is not the other one.
We get that.
Yeah.
In this venue, we understand. We're not talking about the other one.
They're incredibly good at teaching sort of the mantra of like flavor at every step. So they really teach you how to like coax out flavor and come up with something interesting and present your sort of vision as a final product. And the chocolate making process is very much, it's a very technical process, and there's not a lot of equipment that exists for our scale. So a lot of times what makers like myself have to do is modify or build our own equipment.
Oh, that's
so then
interesting.
the engineering part comes in really handy.
Wow.
And obviously if you want to make something over and over again, you want to be able to repeat your results. So the engineering degree comes out when I'm designing, let's say monitoring systems and thermocontrollers and all these things to kind of make sure that we're getting repeatable results, as we make each batch, or if we find something tasty, zero in on it and do it again and again.
All right. So we know you're vegan. Are there any plans to be kosher?
Yes. So the really nice thing about being vegan is when the rabbis or rabbinical students, as we've run into a lot, come in, they'll say, "Show us your eggs," and we'll say, "We don't have any." And then they'll say, "Well, where do you keep your dairy?" And we'll say, "Well, we don't have any." And so they'll ask about our ingredients, and you list the cocoa beans and sugar and this and that, and they're all kashrut by nature, and so each of them we buy primarily kosher ingredients as is, already registered, parv, the whole deal, and so it's kind of kosher by default. Really, it comes down to literally just the payment of bringing a rabbi in.
Right, you gotta pay the guy.
It's
That's
really
what it comes
about
down
that.
to. You gotta pay the guy. So you're gonna be kosher.
Yeah, that's our plan.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, a really lovely move and a kind of nice recognition of our sort of Jewish roots.
It is. That's very nice.
Yeah.
I like that. And you can take your chocolate to Passover Seder.
Absolutely. Which I will tell you my family is all about. That is sampling chocolate at every possible venue.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so dark chocolate is always dairy-free, right?
I
No?
wish that were true.
It's not true.
Here's the thing. The companies that do it well, the answer is yes. However, two things.
Yeah.
One, there's a lot of companies out there that sneak dairy in because they want to make a chocolate seem a little more creamy on the palate. Like I believe, not to name names, but I think Lindt, if I'm not mistaken, has a very small percentage of milk. And two, a lot of the equipment is shared. So if you have a really severe dairy allergy or you're averse in some way, shape, or form, you have to be very careful because the companies obviously may not have dedicated lines or dedicated factories, and so you get a lot of cross-contamination.
Okay. Now, I personally don't consider white chocolate a thing.
Okay.
I don't acknowledge that it exists. What do you guys? What's your approach to white chocolate?
To white chocolate. Okay,
Yes.
so I used to feel exactly the same way.
hate that
I used
stuff.
to say white chocolate was like not our thing. I do not want. I had no interest. But I will say this. My sort of recognition of white chocolate is I want to make one that I enjoy. And like I said, it's a thing I didn't really love before. But the things I didn't love about it is it was always too sweet. It was a little waxy.
Yeah.
And I always thought it does very low flavor, right?
Yeah.
So we make all of our products are dairy-free and vegan, right? We want to make that a core concept from the beginning because that's what matters to us. And so our white chocolate, first of all, you got to have
Is it?
Can't make white chocolate without cocoa beans because you need the fat from the cocoa bean to give it that sort of luxurious feel and the texture and the snap and all the stuff that we really love. Our white chocolate is a lot less sugary. It's a lot more flavor. We add a little bit of French sea salt and a little bourbon vanilla, so we get a really more round flavor. Yeah, it's more of like a French vanilla ice cream, to be honest. Like it's a lot different, the take on it, in what I think to be a much more like crafted, much more delicious version.
Yeah. Now, vanilla prices are out of control.
Yeah, skyrocketing.
So is that like your most expensive bar?
It's pretty pricey.
Yeah.
I will say this. What we've always done is we try to I mean, I really hate to say it, but like our margins are very small. We really want to deliver a really delicious product for what we think to be extremely reasonable price. You know, to what goes into it, all the ingredients. You know, vanilla is very difficult to come by. Cocoa beans that are treated well, grown under really beautiful. Growing methods in lovely countries where the flavor really matters, and you care about the people that are actually working with it, and we pay them directly. Like there's a very intense relationship there. That stuff comes at a premium, so we have to charge a couple bucks more than say a Hershey's bar, but our bars never come in contact with child labor and questionable capitalist practices and things like that. So yeah, I mean,
and that's also junk chocolate. I'm just gonna say
I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of junk in the world.
There's a lot of junk chocolate.
Do
Don't
better,
waste your time and your calories. Like eat good chocolate, people.
Exactly. You know what? That is 100% on point. Yes.
Right. I know.
Absolutely.
Live by these rules. So can you tell us like a general price points, sort of?
Sure. All our bars are 8 across the line. Now I will say, most of our fellow chocolate makers and things are charging 12, 14, things like that.
That's
which I mean, it sounds kind of crazy, but like I said, if you're getting beans that are basically carried on the backs of people and in tiny boats down the Amazon, which I swear to God, like that's what happens in a lot of these places, you have to pay a little more. And so we like to think of ourselves as like a very reasonable entry, somebody who's making world-class chocolate at a very reasonable price.
Yeah, I haven't had your chocolates, so I need to do that.
Man, oh man,
but
we got to fix that.
I know we should fix that, but we're going to. I want to come in. I want to take a tour. I want to take a class. I want you to teach me how to chocolate. I want to chocolate properly and responsibly.
Yes,
but I do. The brand Vosges.
Yes, absolutely.
I actually really love. That's been one of my favorites for. I think they were sort of in the forefront of like the posh kind of.
Very much so.
Right?
I will say they did an excellent job of storytelling through chocolate, and I think I can't remember the owner to save my life, but I think way back in the day they really did an excellent job of breaking in and telling people you can have better, and here is something you may not have traveled. Like they're all about traveling with your taste buds, which I think is a beautiful idea and something that
and
we
they do stuff
really
like they'll do a curry one, like they'll do like the spicy set. I do like them. So, but now I want to expand and try you.
Sure.
And Trini Vegan Taylor really likes your white chocolate.
Well,
so,
I appreciate that. I have to tell you that as a side note, I will say one of my favorite things in the world is to give our white chocolate to people who don't typically like it. I have turned more people and gotten more surprised looks from the just don't even ask questions, just try this. I promise you I will take care of you.
I'm challenging you right here and right now because I think that stuff is like just not.
Well, challenge accepted.
So, there you go. It's on. It is on. You're a sweet genius.
Sure.
What? How's that happen? What's going on there? What's that mean?
A couple years ago, I was very, very fortunate to be invited to participate on a Food Network competition show.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to expect, kind of jumped in without really, understanding what was being asked of me. Spoiler alert, happened to have won. It was like a couple rounds. You spend a day in New York in a film studio. And
the whole thing takes place in one day.
One day they speed through it.
Wow.
It's super intense. It's very high pressure. There was all kinds of shenanigans that happened behind the scenes, and it went really, really well. And all my friends thought something had happened to me because they lock your cell phone up and they don't let you contact anybody through the day for spoilers and things.
Yeah.
But I happened to win, which was really lovely. So I got a big old check from the Food Network for $10,000, and then I used that as seed money to start the company.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Was there anyone on that day with you who became a somebody?
It was primarily people from all over the country. So actually one woman from Texas, and I still talk every now and then.
Oh, yeah?
She's a pastry chef. She does really, really well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoy her company.
That's really cool. I am about to wrap it up. Is there anything we didn't talk about that you wanted to touch on? Your mom's favorite flavor? Anything? I mean,
maple candy pecan.
Hey.
She loves pecan turtles. If I didn't make one, she'd probably kill me. So I said, this is what I got to do. I made a bar that was kind of an homage to her, but always I try to sneak her, little turtles and things.
Does it have a special name for her, or is it just the?
It's our maple candy pecan bar. Yeah.
You don't do like funky names on your bars.
That was something we played with for a bit. I'm open to it. The problem is if I say, like my mom's favorite, I don't know if people will, they're like, what flavor is that? But yes,
or
100%.
Mom says eat this or something.
Yeah. Well, we try to do a lot of stuff like that when we do bonbons. So I like to have a little more fun, little more creative stuff. often try to introduce people to kind of the breadth of all the deliciousness that is vegan chocolate.
Okay. We are definitely going to explore this further.
Please do.
Tell people again how to find you, where to get your chocolate.
Absolutely. So we are physically located on Beaver Dam Road in Hunt Valley. You can come see us Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're open Friday evenings, Saturday, Sunday, 11 to 5. Other than that, you are absolutely available to get us at Eddie's of Roland Park, which is lovely. 3 Bean Coffee, Ceremony Coffee Roasters, all the Mom's Organic Markets, Little Baby's Ice Cream in our house. We are all over the place. Okay. And, of course, we're available online at charmschoolchocolate.com.
Do your stuff ship all right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, a lot of people will buy our chocolate to go into gift bags, and we'll say, just let us take care of it. We make sure it gets there with ice and insulation and everything. You can have a best friend in Tucson in the middle of the summer, and we'll make sure it gets there safely.
Eli Sheeran says hi from Israel. It's nice listening to you.
Well, shalom, Eli. It's nice to listen to you, too.
Unless it's... Yeah, it's Eli, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Ellie, maybe?
That's what I was wondering. I was like, is it... I might not be... Sorry if I'm not saying it right. I think you're Eli, but I don't know. How about like for weddings? Like, would you do a special label?
We've done special events and things like that. We've done bonbons for people. We've done all kinds of confections. The short version is give us a shout. Let us know what's going on. Let us know what you need. We love connecting with our community. You know, we are both chocolate makers, and we're vegan. We're all this business. We want to make sure that people know we're here for you, and we want to make sure you have a good time.
Thank you, Chef. It has been a sweet delight having you. You have been watching This Week in Baltimore Eating with me, Amanda Kratke. Richard should be back next week. Fingers crossed. We have been brought to you by Eddie's of Roland Park on Roland Avenue, hosting a pooch-friendly block party to support Barks on Saturday, June 15th. $10 admission includes a beverage, chips, and gourmet hot dog, along with outdoor music, photos, and a donation to protect and defend homeless, abused, and neglected animals in our community. Don't miss Eddie's Bark Party, a mutt-to-market extravaganza. That's funny. On Saturday, June 15th. Find ticket and event details at eddiesrolandpark.com. For more food fun, sign up for This Week in Baltimore Eating newsletter at jmoreliving.com/newsletters. You can actually read more about Chef Joshua Rosen in our current JMOR issue. Thank you so much to Chef Joshua Rosen of Charm School Chocolate for joining us today. Shop local and eat lots of chocolate.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.